Yo, what's up, guys? We just got done playtesting player housing in World of Warcraft for the first time ever. It was the first time outside of the Blizzard walls anybody's gotten to play this. And I'm here with Jesse Kurlanchik and Rachel Bissoni. Please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I am one of the principal game designers on WoW, and I'm the lead of player housing.
I'm Rachel Bissoni. I'm a game producer on WoW and working on housing.
Cool. So, first things first, finally. Okay, this is something that I think anybody who's played WoW over the years knows, like, the community has wanted player housing since the alpha. You know, everybody's talked about it. You've heard the stories about the portal in Stormwind back in vanilla WoW, and like, whoa, is this housing? What's gonna happen here? Eventually we got garrisons. Fast forward, now we have actual player housing coming. Like, how big of an obstacle was it to get to the point where, okay, we have years and years and years of assets that people are going to want to have in their houses? How big of an obstacle was it to start to kind of corral everything in and being able to compartmentalize it into something that players could use in a housing format?
Yeah, that's a good question. There is a lot of assets, and our tools team worked really hard on actually making it so we can convert them. The actual conversion of trying to take old assets and turning them into decor really isn't a ton of work. Once they got the tools working, there's obviously a little bit of hiccups here and there, but the majority of it is pretty smooth sailing. It's just, there's a lot, and keeping track of everything is a lot. And so we've been working really hard to kind of brainstorm all of the assets we want and trying to provide a big, wide range of a variety of things for players to work with. And then from there, we're also planning a lot of newer assets that we want people to be able to use, which those ones will be able to be dyeable and stuff like that. A lot of the older assets, we can't obviously have that same customization.
If I ask you, what decor do you want from the past 20 years? And I ask you what you want, and then I ask, 10 other people, we will get 12 different answers.
Yeah.
And so figuring out what has, big nostalgia, purposes, what has really resonated with people in the past, what is popular, is a challenging balancing act.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's I mean, that's not surprising at all. With housing having been a thing for so long, something that people have wanted, was there like a point in time where it was like, hey, we can actually do this? What was that moment where you guys are in the development cycle of new expansion content, new whatever's going on, new features, and you're like, you know what? Housing, let's tackle this.
It's happening, finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a long lead up. If you look back 10 years, 15 years, you will see people talking about, oh, is housing coming here? We found these assets in the data files. Is this housing? Could this be it? So internally, we've been, puttering around, noodling with, can we do housing? Is this time to do housing? There have been a bunch of prototypes that have happened over the years. There were a bunch of prototypes that really stuck, and people started feeling good. We felt like the engine was getting to a place where it made sense. We felt like a bunch of the other tech that was going to enable housing was getting to the place where it could make sense. The community, certainly for the 20th anniversary, it made a lot of sense.
Right.
And we've basically been focused on making housing great. We want the initial offering to be sort of best in class, and that took a while. And so we're finally almost there, and we're really, really excited.
Awesome. Calling my own experience, and speaking of best in class, I've played a bunch of different games, a bunch of different MMOs, survival games, building type games. Having played the demo that you guys had put together for us today, the thing that I was immediately, within minutes, just blown away by was how robust the tool set was. There's so many things that you can do, and you can place different assets, you can move things around, you can make things that are completely scuffed, right? You give the players that power, and maybe there's some things that are a little bit overboard given, hey, let's put a build together just for these guys to demo. What really went into that sort of thought process is building out these tools, and how are we going to make something that the players can easily learn how to use in a way that they can be creative?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say this is something we spend a lot of time on. A lot of us are actually really big fan of housing games and this kind of stuff. And so we really wanted to lean into the basic and advanced modes that we have, but we wanted to be able to provide a space where players could do what they want. You can make something that doesn't look great if you want to, or you can make something that's really cool, or you can make a parkour course or whatnot, and we want to give that freedom. And I think that really is something that does put us kind of a step above, and it's something that we've worked really hard to try to make it very smooth and have a nice feeling of the basic versus the advanced mode, and trying to find that balance in between, because there might be people who they don't want to dive into that. They will put a chair down and call it a day, and then there's some people who will spend hours and hours, like myself. I love to find ways to kind of clip items together and stuff, and so being able to have that freedom is really cool, and I don't think it's really something that's been done before.
Yeah, I think, you have a large portion of not just the player base, but the population who doesn't know how a 3D program works, who's not comfortable in sort of free-floating space. And we want you, even if you're not familiar with that, to be able to make something you're proud of. Or if not proud of, at least that you enjoy. If you are, the classic bachelor pad, bed and a TV, or chair and a TV, or whatever it is, but then behind the TV, you have your rack of trophies. Of things you accomplished that you've done in the world.
Middle school trophies.
Middle school trophies, right? Little ribbons hanging on the wall.
7th grade spelling bee.
You're like, I did that. I was there when that happened. That stuff is important to players. Right now, if I scroll through my bank and my bags and I see stuff that we did 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you're like, oh, remember that? That takes on such a new level of nostalgia when you actually can walk through the space.
Right.
When I can make a replica of, a zone or a culture or a town that meant something to me 15 years ago or 10 years ago. And then I can bring my friends through it. And be like, hey, come on over. Remember when we did that thing? And everybody's like, that was a great thing that we did. And being able to recall those stories, being able to recall those times, is really heartwarming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to your point, I could just imagine, like right now, you have ways to do that, right? You look at your bags, you look at your collections tab, you have all your mounts. It's like, okay, well, what if instead of you clicking on this and going through a menu, it's on display for everybody to see, right? And you can have people come into your house, you can do stuff with your guild, you can do stuff in the neighborhoods. And that's the next thing I want to talk about is the social aspect of it, right? From what we've learned so far is that there's going to be neighborhoods with up to 50 lots, is that right?
50 and change, roughly, yeah.
Roughly 50 lots, and there'll be like an alliance, map and a horde map, so a little bit different, but there's not gonna be a whole lot of restrictions between the two.
Correct.
With these neighborhoods, is there any sort of plans for, I guess economically, are there any sort of plans to have like a difference in cost of like, this is the rich people's neighborhood, this is like you can go to, like, you've got this place that looks like Desolate, super cheap, dirt cheap, or you can go over here and it's like Elwyn Forest, lush, green, like, okay, this is a little bit nicer. Is there anything like that?
So on a neighborhood level, generally we want all plots to be desirable.
Okay.
I may not be into the coastal look. I might want like a forest, or this person might want like a mesa or something like that. You should be able to find something in the neighborhood that sort of appeals to you and the type of either character or player you are. But no, we're not intentionally, going to stratify things economically. There's a bad quote somewhere about like we should try to implement as few things as possible from real life housing. So, I don't want segregated cities by like, you're kind of too poor to be up here. Can you go down there again? Like that's horrible. We want players to be able to sort of express themselves in their neighborhoods.
Right.
So if your neighborhood is like, yeah, we're really down with year-round Halloween.
Right. Okay.
Get it? Like if you want, Christmas Wonderland 24/7, by all means, please. But we're not, sort of as the developer is going to sort of try to force our will on anything like that.
Okay. We talked about like the collections tab and stuff that already exists in WoW, right? Different ways that you can share experiences, things that have permanence throughout like different expansions. Housing is one more thing that does that, right? You have something that you can earn and then it's there. It doesn't go away with the next patch. It doesn't go away with the next expansion. With the way that people treat mount collection and appearance collection, I think this is a question everybody is kind of, they kind of know the answer, but I think they want to hear it. Are you looking at some of the same sort of methods, or maybe even new methods of going back and maybe collecting like trophies and getting like, you know, can I go kill a Nixia and go to a taxidermist and have a stuffed Nixia in my house? You know, something like that.
Yes.
Yes.
There will be a lot of different ways that people can go and get whatever they want and wherever they want. Professions, rewards, we're gonna have old achievements that will maybe provide stuff. So if you went and killed something a while ago, you'll get a reward the same way you would get other rewards in other aspects of the game. So there will be a lot of avenues for that.
Sick.
Yeah, I think the progression question is actually really interesting. You know, right now, today, if you go play WoW with your guild or something, you prog through a tier. You know, it takes 6 months or 4 months or however long it takes you. And then you wait to the next tier. With housing, you know, your house can be evolving for as long as you want it to be. You want to add more rooms, add more rooms. You want to, you know, have your dungeon in the basement and then your sort of normal entertaining main level and your fancy suites upstairs. I don't know what people are going to do with their houses, but that's the sort of really exciting thing is seeing what happens. You know, what is my guild going to do with our neighborhood over the course of 1 month, 6 months, 3 years?
HOA fees.
HOA fees.
That's my guild, we're HOA fees.
Listen, you can do that.
That's the guild tax.
That'll be all on you. No. It's that's the sort of emergent thing that's gonna be really interesting to watch. Is, you know, how will players self-organize? How will guilds? How will they make decisions about, you know, what our neighborhood is?
Yeah.
Or, you know, will this small group of players decide that they're going to turn this part of the neighborhood into whatever they turn it into, and how that'll differ from neighborhood to neighborhood. You know, there's something really exciting that we don't know what's going to happen. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens when it goes live.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the social aspects is just seeing the organicness and the spontaneous things that players do that you don't really plan for. And that's something that will be cool because we can take that feedback or we can see what players do and try to add on to it down the road.
You kind of give them the agency to be like, hey, like they're doing something with this, let's support it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so for me, some of you guys might know I role play, okay? I GTA role play a lot. I feel like the role play opportunities with housing is immense. It's gonna be amazing. So there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff that people are gonna be able to see, a lot of different community events. And you've seen that in other games and stuff too, but to bring that to WoW, I think is gonna be incredible. You have like Mythic Plus mains, you have rating mains, you have people that are, you know, mount collectors, right? People that are achievement grinders. Well, I think with housing, you're gonna have housing mains. There are going to be people that are gonna be like, I love playing WoW for the housing now. And that's something that's really cool, is having a new avenue of being able to play World of Warcraft coming in. Is there anything else you guys wanna add?
Yeah, no, I think you mentioned the role players. I think it's a somewhat unique opportunity right now for WoW players who may not be like deep into the RP side of things. It provides a nice on-ramp. So if you are my neighbor and you're like, having a birthday party this weekend, you should come over. Like, for me, I'm like, is that role playing? I don't know. I mean, yes, it is technically. And what is that experience for us now as friends, as neighbors, as a neighborhood, and how we can express who we are, right? Your neighborhood, your birthday party could be themed like X. Right. And my wedding over here is themed like Y.
Right.
And our field day or our parkour course or whatever is going to be sort of up to the players to figure out what they like and what they want to show off.
I'm 100% gonna go yell at people to mow their lawns.
I love it.
That'd be great.
Your grass is too long, okay?
Just get out. You're done here.
I really appreciate the interview. I think housing has so much potential. I think this experience has been incredible. I really appreciate you guys inviting us out to get to go play the game, to do the demo. Guys, check it out. It's gonna be really, really incredible, and it's coming out with the Midnight expansion, right? Okay, so with the release of Midnight, it's gonna be coming out, and it'll be super exciting to see.
Thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you were able to check it out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.